It was a loophole that existed in the Tariff Act of 1930, allowing slave-produced goods into the United States. Last month, U.S. President Barack Obama signed a bill into law that included a provision that bans the import of goods made by child and forced labor. Once the law goes into effect later this month, 136 goods from 74 countries around the world will be targeted. Some of those goods include electronics and toys from China, garments from Argentina, coffee from the Ivory Coast, and textiles from Ethiopia.
Media reports that say there will be an immediate ban on more than 100 products from many, many countries. I think that's an exaggeration and a misreading of the law. This basically says that the Customs and Border Protection officers who maintain rules around what can be imported into the U.S. now can and should be looking at goods that are at risk of being tainted with slavery, to investigate them and to stop particular shipments.
The use of slave labor is a significant problem, particularly in emerging economies that have weak and unenforced labor laws. Global firms such as Nestle, Cargill, Archer Daniels, and retail giant Gap are just some of the companies that have been caught using slave labor in their supply chain. Experts say it might be better for the U.S. government to focus on targeting specific countries instead of specific products.
These are hard investigations to do because of the complexity of supply chains today, because of the possibility of shipping or transshipping products through third countries. So it's arguable that you're going to get less impact in terms of eliminating slave labor than if you said, okay, these countries are a huge part of the problem.
The U.S. Customs and Border Protection will be key in making sure this law is enforced. They can also receive tips from NGOs and labor groups around the world.
Labor interests and NGOs might be able to petition for enforcement if they actually know that or have evidence or, rationally based suspicions that there's a problem.
While there is some pessimism that surrounds the effectiveness of this law, experts believe it will have an impact.
I know a number of other European governments are looking at how they can institute rules in their own supply chains, because governments are very often much bigger than companies. So I think there'll be a ripple effect there.
Now, for this law to be really effective in disrupting and reducing slave labor, many are calling for greater transparency in the supply chains of global companies. Shraysi Tandon, CCTV, New York.